What is up, YouTube? It is 2017, and now more than ever, there are tons of budgeting apps out there. Personal capital is one more tool in the toolbox of any financial planner, anybody who's keeping track of their expenses, their income, budgeting, tracking, planning, investing. That's personal capital. I gotta be honest, I'm not blown away with the budgeting side of personal capital, the income and expense, but we're gonna talk about what personal capital does better than anything else on the market, and it's something that nobody's talking about. So here we go, let's get right into it. This is the portfolio side of personal capital, and I've linked it up to one of my personal IRAs. And over here, so for those of you who are catching it, on this left-hand side here, I actually have blurred out my personal information. So normally there's a kind of a menu over here for navigation. And of course we've got transactions, income and expenses, and then the other. So personal capital kind of has two main uses. There's the transaction thing for like expenses and income, and then we have the portfolio for tracking investments. Now, you can link personal capital up to any major brokerage, so in this case E-Trade. I also use things like Robinhood and M1 Finance. Personal capital won't link up with those, or at least it wouldn't the last time I checked, which was not too long ago. So you need a major brokerage in order to link it up. So I've linked it up to one of my IRAs, and we're going to take a look at this because this is what personal capital does better than anything else on the market, is tracking and measuring portfolios. It's totally free and it's wonderful. I super recommend it. We'll start with the holdings tab here. It has the U index, and it says over the last 30 days, I'm up 2.05%. The S&P is up 0.98 over the last day. Myself and the S&P are both down an equal amount. And you can see down here, the blue line is mine. The yellow line is the S&P 500. Now, if we change this to track different areas, we'll get a better sense. So if I have a portfolio that's not necessarily linked up to large cap companies like the S&P 500, maybe I've got industrials, maybe I've got a foreign portfolio, whatever it is, you can compare it to these different benchmarks. So you can see that down here, these are my holdings inside of this account. These are the number of shares, the price, all of the information that you would expect to see. Pretty straightforward, nothing new here. Go over to balances, E-Trade, blah, 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 IRA ending in account number, balance, and then of course some changes over different time periods. You can see it tracks it over a certain time. This is probably when I linked the account. Same here, we can change this window and see performance over a longer time. In this case, the S&P has beat me out over a longer period. In this case, I have beaten the S&P. Bring it on, S&P. Bam! No big deal. We go over to performance, and we can see a 30-day window of portfolio change. We can go up to 90 days, so like a net negative here for a while, and then we've been climbing for the last 90 days, and we can go up to 6 months out, and this must have been right when I linked the account here. Pretty good, pretty nice. We're still not quite to the part that I love, though. Allocation and U.S. sectors. So these are the two sections that nobody's talking about that personal capital does better than any other free software on the market. It does it so well, and honestly, I use personal capital specifically for these two, for allocation and U.S. sectors. I don't even use the transaction sections. All I use is the allocation and U.S. sectors. In fact, I don't really even pay attention to this because I don't care that much. Allocations. This is a beautiful interactive asset class breakdown of this particular IRA. Now, if you link it up to all of your IRAs, if you have an IRA with T Rowe and an IRA with E-Trade and Fidelity, you link it up, it'll put them all together, and you could like remove certain accounts if you didn't want to see them all. But this gives you a great big picture look at what everything you're invested in actually is cumulatively. So I can see that 7% of my portfolio is in cash. 15% is in international bonds. 0.3% is in US bonds, US stocks, international stocks, and alternatives. Now, here's where it gets really, really powerful. US stocks, 55%. Click on it. Boom. Large cap, large cap, large cap. So these are the different large cap categories. We got value, core, and growth. And then, of course, mid cap, value, core, and growth, and small cap, value, core, and growth down here. Now, what do I have in small cap growth? I don't know. Let's find out. There we go. WGROX, Wasatch Core Growth Fund, $194 or 3% of my total portfolio. This is wonderfully powerful for figuring out where you're at, because we live in a time where it's easier than ever to get your assets into different areas, but we buy a bunch of different funds here, and I've got AKREX, I got JAGLEX, NASDAQ, PAR, all of these different mutual funds, but I don't know what their underlying assets are, or at least it's hard to remember. It's hard to track them all cumulatively. I know that I analyzed it, I've assessed it when I originally bought the security, but honestly, each one of them holds like 60 different underlying assets. How am I supposed to figure out what that is? Well, here's how I figure it out. There it is. It's all right on the screen in this super easy to use format. So no matter how many different funds I have, no matter how that's broken up, personal capital goes in, it tallies that all up, it adds it up, and then it shows it to me in this beautiful graph of allocation. Nobody else is doing it this well for allocation. And then, of course, sectors. This is beautiful. It's hard, again, it's hard to figure out exactly where your weight is, sector by sector. When you're doing it yourself, you're investing yourself, you're a DIY investor, and you've got 10, 12, 15, 20 different mutual funds. You've got some ETFs, you've got some single stocks. How in the world are you supposed to remember where everything is when each of those things has an underlying 10 to 100 holdings? It's really, really hard. This makes it easy. Personal capital is doing it better than anybody. You can see basic materials, communication service, defensive, cyclical, energy. So defensive stocks or defensive assets are assets that tend to get hit less than others during a downturn in the market. Cyclical stocks tend to have large fluctuations with the market. You can see I don't own any energy or any utilities. Now, I know that I don't own energy and utilities, but maybe you go in here, you type in your account information, you go over here and you click on US sectors, and oh my God, I don't own any energy. If you thought that you were diversified and you thought that you owned some energy, and now it's showing you that you don't, well, now you can make some adjustments. That's great. Or like, whoa, I've got so much technology. I didn't realize I have technology. Maybe we go back in here and we realize that 4 out of my 6 funds all hold technology stocks underneath, and you didn't realize that. And your technology is way out of whack. You can see that right here. It's really easy to see. This is amazing. I can come in here and I can say, oh, okay, well, my consumer defensive is really low. I should find a way to boost that. Maybe I should reallocate a little bit. Maybe I should buy something new. Maybe I've got way more international bonds than I thought I did. Boom, you can see exactly how that breaks out. You can figure out where they're coming from. Why do I have so much cash? You can see each of these different funds is holding a certain amount of cash right now. It's going to change all the time, and it always updates. So personal capital, to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the transactions thing. It does it well enough. I just never stay up on it and keep things updated. I'm bad at it. That's my bad. Portfolio, though, this is the side of personal capital that doesn't get talked about enough, and specifically the sectors and the allocation. Do not get too sucked up in watching these shiny lines move up and down. Get over in here and check out your allocations and check out your sectors so you have a better big picture understanding of what all of your individual funds, if you own a bunch of ETFs, a bunch of mutual funds, this gives you a snapshot of exactly what those look like. And you can get down inside these funds that they're complicated. Not everybody can keep track of them. If you were a really, really hands-on investor, before a good tool like this, you might have gone into an Excel spreadsheet and typed in all of the underlying holdings. If you own 10 mutual funds and each of those owns 500 or 50 underlying stocks, that's a list of 500 Excel entries, and then you got to weight them, and then you can make a graph like this. But you certainly would have a hard time making something this nice without dumping tons and tons of your own time into it. This updates itself automatically, updates daily. You can see your allocations in the sectors. Hands down, without a doubt, allocation and sectors, if for nothing else, go use personal capital just to check in on and use it as a touchstone, a benchmark. See if you are allocated in the places that you thought you were. If I have helped you out today, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, or I've helped you make a decision on using a new piece of software, I encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, give me a share. Go on over to patreon.com/CaseyFiedler. Consider supporting the work that I do so that I can keep making great videos, keep you educated, keep you informed. Leave me a comment, say hi. Thanks, everybody. And remember, personal capitals, allocations, and sectors, really more powerful than anything else on the market right now, in my opinion, for doing exactly what we were talking about. Have a good one. Enjoy. Let me know in the comments. See ya.